So let's go back to 2016, yeah? When the Trump administration came into office, it had one clear energy goal: make America energy independent by focusing on fossil fuels. They weren't shy about it either. From the get-go, they rolled out policies to expand oil and gas production, and they dismantled several regulations in the process.
You're talking big moves, like repealing the methane rules, right? The ones that aim to cut down emissions during natural gas extraction. Boom. Gone. And it wasn't just about methane. They were slashing regs left and right, all in the name of boosting production.
That's exactly right. Methane, mind you, is what about 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. Repealing those rules not only put more gas on the market, but also left us with environmental consequences we're still grappling with. But it didn't stop there. Public lands saw heavy impacts as well. Over 20 million acres on shore were open for fossil fuel development.
And don't forget ANWR, Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. That place, it had been off limits for decades, and suddenly, here's the administration greenlighting drilling leases. It's like they had a checklist of everything blocked by green politics and went full throttle to undo it.
Yes, ANWR was a significant marker. It wasn't just about opening areas, because, funny enough, not all companies jumped on the opportunity. And that's the unintended part: market forces sometimes overruled policy intentions. Oil prices dropped, interest waned, and some areas were left untouched even after leases were issued.
Yeah, that's the twist. They were aiming at energy dominance, but what do we call it? The market has its own marching orders. Prices fall, the private sector hesitates, and boom, not exactly the fireworks they'd hoped for.
Exactly, Duke. Now let's consider the overall strategy. By prioritizing fossil fuels so heavily, there was this clear-cut message: traditional energy first. The administration positioned it as a way to secure energy independence. But did it really shift the needle? Or did it create more room for states and other players to take a different path? That's, I think, the larger question.
That's what I'm saying. Focus on oil, coal, gas, all that. But the world's still moving, still running toward renewables some way or another. It's like they put their bets down, but the race started heading in a different direction.
So, while the federal government under Trump doubled down on fossil fuels and rolled back environmental regulations, there were states, California leading the charge, that took a different route altogether. I mean, think about it. Setting a goal for 100% clean electricity by 2045. That's ambitious, right?
Ambitious? More like headstrong. California's out there with these mandates, but they're also dealing with blackouts left and right. Want to put all your chips on renewables? Fine, but then what happens when the clouds roll in or the wind dies down, you know?
Fair point. Renewable energy does have its intermittency challenges. But California illustrates that pushing for clean energy isn't just ideology. It's also being driven by economics. Solar panels are cheaper, batteries are improving, and businesses, funny enough, even oil companies, are diversifying investments.
Okay, but not every state's banking on that. Look at Texas. You'd think, big oil, right? But bam, Texas comes out of nowhere leading the country in wind energy. It's not ideology there, it's money, plain and simple.
Texas is fascinating. They capitalized on their wide open spaces and, well, an independent grid that allowed for innovation. By 2020, they were generating more wind power than most countries. And get this, they managed to keep costs competitive. It's a lesson in how the market can, sometimes, prioritize renewable energy without federal mandates.
But don't let that fool you. Texas wasn't suddenly waving a go green flag. It's all about dollars and efficiency. They knew wind was cheap, so mission first. We'll take the low-cost route and run with it. I respect that, even if it wasn't the usual mega playbook.
Precisely. It reinforces this idea that states have their own pace, independent of federal actions. So, even as you had Trump lifting restrictions on traditional energy, states like California and Texas found unique ways to lead in their sectors. One focused on environment, the other on economy. It's a clash, sure, but it also shows resilience in energy innovation. So building on that, Duke, even with Trump's administration doubling down on fossil fuels, the states showed us something remarkable. Whether it was California's ambition or Texas's pragmatism, that push for clean energy, it didn't stop. It's like a river finding its way around a dam, you know?
Yeah, it's like we set up roadblocks, but the market just said, "Nuh-uh, keep moving." States, private industries, heck, even overseas competition, they kept rolling forward on renewables.
Exactly. And now that the Biden administration's in place, they've got a real shot at accelerating this transition. They can leverage policies and local partnerships to make clean energy not just an option, but a cornerstone of the economy.
Point taken, but it's uphill combat, you know? We've got supply chains to fix, infrastructure gaps to close, and convincing some folks, that's like herding cats.
Oh, no argument there. But here's something to think about. Back in Nigeria, where I grew up, oil was king. Entire communities were dependent on it. And you'd think, well, oil should have been a blessing. But instead, it left us shredded by instability, corruption. It was a trap.
Ugh, a classic case of too much of a good thing, huh? Pinned down by the very thing that's supposed to boost you up.
Exactly. And that's why this clean energy transition isn't just good policy. It's a lifeline. America has the tools, the resources to lead this change without falling into the dependency traps that other countries faced. But time's ticking. It's got to happen now.
Ain't that the truth? Leaders need to step up, walk the walk. 'Cause this dance between fossil fuels and renewables, it's only going to work out if we get the next moves right.
Couldn't agree more. This isn't just about policy debates or political wins. It's about future generations. On that note, Duke, great conversation as always.
Same here, brother. Until next time, stay fired up.